Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Let's Play Pokemon OmegaRuby. I'm your host, PokeGamer. In the last episode, we kind of started on continuing on Route 118. We had a little run-in with Latios and Latios. Latios had come to me and Steven, or I guess to us and Steven, and kind of asked us to help its friend Latios, who is apparently being attacked by, or not maybe attacked, but targeted by Team Magma. So we kind of did that in the last episode, and what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be finishing off what we can of Route 123, and then we're going to be heading to Route 119 to deal with the Mimic Circle. We're not going to get too far into Route 119, of course, there's a lot of trainer battles, but that's basically what we're going to be doing today. We're also going to get close to that second point, like I mentioned it maybe 1 or 2 episodes ago. You can get both bikes in this game, and one of the NPCs is on Route 119. It requires the Acro bike, so if you don't have the Acro bike, then you're not going to be able to get to this person, so I do recommend that you get it. I don't think you need dive. I think all you need is the Acro bike, so you should be completely fine. If you need dive, then I will bring it up in the next episode. As a result of either A, like looking into it and realizing, oh hey, we can't get up there, or B, you know, just like trying it ourselves in the next episode without looking into it at all, and then just realizing that we may need like waterfall or some shit. So I mean, I don't know if I said dive before or not. If I did, then I meant waterfall. I woke up literally like an hour ago. I woke up, got in the tub, you know, did my usual routine, and then yeah. Like, I'm still kind of waking up a little bit. For a second I considered giving Dazzling Gleam to Roserade, but its moveset right now is probably the best that it can really be, so there's really no need to give it anything else. So, just kind of throwing it out there. As for everything else, Dazzling Gleam happens to be a beautiful stab move for Gardevoir, and until we happen to get the Altaria, we don't really have any good like fairy move on Swablu / Altaria, so having Dazzling Gleam is actually decent, not to mention it's going to be a special attacker, so I mean, just kind of throwing it out there. And the cool thing about Dazzling Gleam is it's a lot like Rock Slide, it only hits your opponent's side, which is pretty useful, I would say. So, I don't know. It just seems pretty good to me, but I mean, obviously Dustox resists because of its part poison, but outside of that, I mean, whatever, it can resist all at once. It doesn't really matter to me, or anyone else for that matter. It does a lot of damage, considering I think we're Modest Nature. I can't really remember which nature I ended up getting, but yeah. I really want to get Altaria. I really want to evolve the Swablu. But it's kind of just a little bit tricky to use it right now because of, well, in this area particularly because of the high levels, it would be underleveled, I would say. As for Route 119, it's not as underleveled. In fact, I probably could have used it, but the problem is it's raining there right now. I don't know if it's like a permanent rain all the time or not. I can't really remember, but yeah. I mean, if that was the case, then Heat Wave would not do much, and outside of that, we have normal and fairy moves, basically, so not something that's ideal. There really isn't any, like, major, like, good special attacking flying type moves, outside of things like Hurricane, stuff like that, so I kind of wish they would bring up more moves that were good special-wise. I mean, imagine if Mega Pidgeot had, access to something more than just Hurricane. But yeah, and as you guys saw, I didn't pick up any of the berries. You can pick up a lot of the berries in there for free, of course. I just didn't want to waste a bunch of time. I didn't want to waste a bunch of time picking up a bunch of berries and then only getting like 3 or 4 battles in because of it. And I thought that we had to battle this guy, and I guess we either already did that or he's just not a trainer that we battle, one of the two. Kind of like this guy here, who mentions riding his bike in this grass and how you can't really see yourself because of how tall it is. So this little area here, this early part of Route 119 is often referred to as the Mimic Circle. There are, I think, like 7 or 8 trainers here, and as you step through the grass, depending on which direction you're moving, the NPCs, or like the battleable NPCs in the area, will move around, and they kind of mimic your movements to an extent. Not exactly, but they do mimic them. So something to kind of keep in mind as you're you know, walking around through the area, because you never know if you're going to end up making one of them immediately turn around and actually battle you. So if you want to get out of here fast without battling, probably tuck to one of those sides, the left or the right, and you'll be perfectly fine. So I mean, but outside of that, I really don't know what else to really say in regards to the area. It's usually just like generic battling. It's just, you know, the mimic circle, and it's kind of the one unique thing, or not the one unique thing, but one of the unique things that this game has over all the others. I don't seem to remember any of the other generations having a little area like this that, you know, characters move around according to how you move, stuff like that. So, I don't know. But yeah. I mean, I'm kind of glad that we're not leading with Roserade right now, because I really don't want to deal with all these bug types. I mean, sure, the poison typing is there, but I mean, poison typing is not really going to do anything against these things, and I don't really have anything that can hit bugs, or even flying types for that matter, that, you know, does decent enough damage. I guess Venoshock would be okay, but I mean, a lot of them I don't think get hit by the whole toxic spike thing, if they're like flying type, they, you know, that kind of shit. So, I mean, Venoshock would just be a 65 base power special attacking move, and I would have to hope that the stab boost is more than enough to push it over the top, because I'm pretty sure that normally they probably wouldn't kill, unless my IVs are extremely good, which I don't know if they are or not, so, but that's just how I see it anyway. That's why I really decided just, no, I'm not going to use Roserade in this area, because this entire area, the whole Mimic Circle is basically bug catchers. You want to make sure that you're kind of prepared for that. So if you are like using Swampert and you've kind of gotten everything like I have so far, you probably do have Rock Slide on your Pokemon. You probably want to start leading with your Swampert if you want to. A lot of the things in the area are actually weak to things like Charge Beam, of course, though. So if you have something like Gardevoir with Charge Beam, that works as well. Outside of that, it's mostly Dustox, Beautifly, and Masquerain. So if you're prepared for them, then you're perfectly fine. But if you're not prepared for them, then I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, just use whatever hits as hard as it possibly can for neutral damage, because you're going to be dealing with a lot of them throughout this entire part of the area, and not much that you can really do about it. So, I mean, Gardevoir and Swampert are more than enough for this entire area, but, I mean, yeah. Anyway, all the trainers in this area are really easy. This is one of those areas, by the way, for anyone who's never played Generation 3, this is one of those areas that people have come to sort of despise, not so much now, but back in the day, because back in the day, this was the route that you could find Feebas, and Feebas was only like something that you could find on, I think, any one of very, like, 6 specific tiles, depending on the popular phrase that you could change in Dewford Town. So by changing the phrase there, you could potentially find it. You'd have to change it up every, like, you know, every, like, I don't know, so many tries. Of course, if you didn't really have to do that. You could always fish several times in a single spot, and then move to the next spot, and so on and so forth until you eventually found it. But you could be sitting there for like an hour trying to find one of those spots, and the thing is a lot of people who managed to find those spots would often farm Feebas in order to trade them off for higher end stuff, because there were people that were just so lazy that they would be willing to offer up maybe shiny Pokemon or, you know, stuff like that in order to get them, because Milotic has always been one of the most popular Pokemon in basically the history of Pokemon. Its design is really cool. It's not exactly a bad Pokemon. It's capable of tanking things pretty well. Max HP and max special defense with maybe something like an Assault Vest would make it a pretty tanky offensive Pokemon. And of course, if you did the same IV thing, but you did something like Leftovers with Recover and Toxic and stuff like that, it could be kind of a pain in the ass. Personally, I have a bold, I don't remember what my IVs or my EV spread is, but yeah, it has like Scald, Ice Beam, Toxic, and Recover, just to make sure that it lives and can really hinder things. In VGC, or if you were to play like VGC, you probably end up replacing Toxic with Protect, which would be annoying if you were using Leftovers, because, you know, Let me just protect and get free from health recovery. Of course, that was also annoying in single battles. Back in Generation 5, I often used rain teams. I have a battle, an actual Wi-Fi battle from back then, before I even ever had an actual capture card. And thing is, like, I used to use Tentacruel a lot, just because, the rain with Rain Dish, you'd get a lot of health recovery off of that, plus the Black Sludge. Of course, Black Sludge was a preferred item over the leftovers in case they use something like Switcheroo or Trick or something like that. And I often ended up using something like Rapid Spin, Protect, Scald, and something else. I don't really remember what the last move was. If it gets Ice Beam, it was probably Ice Beam. I can't remember off the top of my head. But I mean, bulky Pokemon like Tentacruel, like Milotic, like Jellicent, stuff like that. I mean, they're really popular Pokemon, believe it or not. Honestly, I'm surprised that Jellicent doesn't see more play. It was very popular in Generation 5. It saw, I think, a lot of play at Worlds 2 years ago, roughly. So I don't know. It's Milotic's always been one of those Pokemon that have been really highly desired, whether or not they have it already or not. Most people usually try to have at least one competitive Milotic in their PC or on their team. Maybe not always on their team, of course. Going into Ubers or something would be kind of dumb. I mean, let's be real. But I mean, it's always a Pokemon that a lot of people have enjoyed. It's easy to look at. It's not terrible. It's actually a pretty decent water type as opposed to some of the other things that we've gotten in the past. I mean, let's just easily make this, a shitty comparison by comparing, Basculin to the likes of Milotic. I mean, just kind of throwing that out there, even though it's not really a fair comparison. You get my point, though. I mean, even Wailord, I don't recall Wailord ever seeing any kind of play as a tanky Pokemon, yet you have things like Tentacruel, who has access to things like Rapid Spin and Spikes, stuff like that. And then you have Milotic, who's got access to Recover on top of something like Leftovers in the rain, which is annoying. Things like that. Like, Wailord's always been one of those derpy Pokemon that have just been really huge and all that other crap, but they just never were all that relevant. So I don't know. I've been rambling on about random crap, haven't I? But yeah. I mean, I don't know. By the way, this is a little bit of a strategy that I've always kind of enjoyed. I've never really seen anyone use it. It's kind of cool. I don't know. It kind of is bad if the opposing team actually happens to have a poison type on their team that can actually hit the ground. I would say, for example, something other than the likes of something like Crobat, because obviously it's part flying. But being able to set up the toxic spikes, being able to use something like Kiko Drain for health recovery, and then kind of getting all your health back, or a good chunk of it back, if nothing else, then letting them switch in and have things poisoned, and having Venoshock to be a 120, or no, not 120, a 130 base power move. So just kind of throwing that out there, because Venoshock's base is 65, if I remember correctly. And if the opposing Pokemon happens to be poisoned, Venoshock's base power is doubled. So if nothing else, it's no less than 120. If it's 65, then it's definitely 130, and that is, yeah, pretty ridiculous. Because, I mean, let's be real. That's just an absurd amount of power for no reason. I mean, if you think about it, it's pretty good against gym leaders if you happen to need it. It'll probably be good, or okay, if nothing else, against the last gym leader. Next one's obviously flying, so it's not going to be as useful. And the one after that's going to be kind of threatening to Roserade, so I really don't know if I really want to use it in that battle or not. But, I mean, like I said, I do have access. Well, actually, no, yeah, that battle is not going to be something I'm going to want to use Roserade in. Different kind of team and stuff, so it's tricky. We'll get to that when we get to it, of course, though. In the next episode, we're going to continue going through Route 119 and hopefully make our way up to Fort Tree City so that we can kind of start exploring there and get ready to start on the next gym. So yeah, be sure to stay tuned for that. If you haven't already, don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, and until next time, this is the PokeGamer, signing out.